A very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. We are out of studio this week. We are on the sidelines of the 2025 Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair. And tonight on the show, we are joined by Stephanus Pombili. He is, of course, a Swapo member and also a social commentator who always weigh in on certain issues of governance and politics. He's a regular on our show, and tonight we invited him to engage us on the latest developments in the country. Thank you very much, my brother, for making time. It's the first time this year that we're talking. How are things?
No, all is well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
all is well.
Yeah.
So we are doing well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's it. You have been a critic of the way the internal politics of the ruling party are handled sometimes. You are on record, for example, last year that the way in which the extraordinary congress of the party was organized was not according to the principles of the constitution of the party. But later in the year, we saw you cozying up with the very people that you were accusing of having trampled upon the constitution of the party. If you can explain the context of that we saw.
Number one, before we have the rigor principles. Of course, as public law, we are all subject to comply with these laws. So, and also there is, what we call political principles. Number one, I'm a Swapo member. In between there, you are looking at the election window period, and you're also trying to equate, to minimize, some external enemies politically. So I have to say, okay, well, these whole agitations of people don't want to comply with Swapo constitution, and after a resolution that was also adopted thereafter, I thought of how about we put these, because it's already water under the bridge. Even if we can seek judicial reviews, it's not going to be in my favor. So, and then I have to look at the political side, I have to look at the Swapo momentum also. And then I said, how about we forget about this and get together and then face the election while we are united. So maybe that's why you saw me in a narrative specific, where I said, consensus is very important in all aspects of life. So I said, how about we get together and then face the external enemy, which are the oppositions, instead of hammering on the issue of constitution and constitution which was not complied with. In the end, the opposition are leveraging on that. Yes.
So in other words, you felt that these are two separate issues. You have your internal agitations as a party.
Yes.
But externally, you must present a united front.
Precisely, yes.
Yeah. But you do not withdraw. You are not apologetic for what you said, to say, oh, I was wrong, actually. You still think that your analysis all along has been spot on.
Here is that in law they say he or she who alleged must prove. So that is to say, what I have said remain valid. The law was broken, and this is fact. So I'm not going to, although politics and law, these are intricately linked, but I'm not going to say no, to be blind to the extent that no, there were no violation. Violation has been there, and the history book has recorded it. So I still remain on that principle that yes, there is some certain provision that were not complied with. So procedurally, internally, this Swapo constitution and Swapo rule and procedure. So I stick to that principle that they have been lack of compliance to this very same day.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, I understand. Do you think complying with the constitution, even if it's an internal party matter, do you think it has any bearing on the performance of the party in national elections? Because if you enter an election divided internally because of non-compliance or the interpretations of things, do you think that has a bearing on national election results, or people can continue doing this knowing that that nationally there's nothing that will happen to them?
History has taught us, historical past event has taught us that where Swapo, what is destroying Swapo is actually not internal forces, because they don't know Swapo. What is destroying Swapo is the internal forces, because these people are in Swapo. So, and then you have a situation whereby you are a custodian of this public law that you should uphold without fear of contradictions. So 2027, I would go back to it in 2017, sorry. 2017, you have seen what happened to Swapo. There were these who were saying, okay, in 2015, you have seen Comrade Bumba was trying to force, President Hage to be accepted as Swapo president when he was not elected. And many people, unfortunately, they received that news on a different feeling, to say, we have the principle of Swapo that is every position in Swapo should be therefore elective. And this comrade was not elected. And then what happened, it is the spirit of Team Swapo and Team Harambe during the 2027 Congress. And the aftermath was Swapo for the first time lost its two-thirds majority. That is to say, what is destroying Swapo is not necessarily the external factors. It is the wrong within the Swapo party. Yeah, because when members in the Swapo party, we have this challenge in Swapo whereby an incumbent is invisible, can say, I can comply with the, and we are, by the way, we are creating also what we call common law that are not written, whereby Toivo was next in line, and then he bulldozed everything, and then you have now, you are creating some factions. These are saying we have to follow the principle of the Swapo constitution. These are saying it doesn't matter. Let's support, the person in line. So what is destroying Swapo is not literally. Yes, of course, there are Eastern whereby the country people are in abject poverty and so on. But what is destroying Swapo, it is when they fail to comply with their own law. It's like there's an Namibian constitution. These laws are abstract from the Namibian constitution. Whether the Swapo constitution is an abstract. Now you have a situation whereby any president that comes to power will say, no, I'm going to be there for 20 years, or maybe for 10 terms. So at the end of the day, there will be some rebellions that are going to say, no, man, this thing can go on like that. So this is what is destroying Swapo. It is when you don't want to comply with the law that you have established, because we should all be subjective regardless. The principle of law is clear that we are all equal before law. So what is destroying Swapo, in short, is just these things.
So unity, that internal unity is key in order to also then wage a proper war in a national war. Is not a nice word, but to wage a proper fight in a national election.
Yeah, unity will only come. That's why they say we have to be slave to law for a society to function.
Yeah.
So, whereby we are not slave to the law that we have enacted.
Yeah.
They are chaos. Yeah, because anybody can do whatever it pleases them. Yeah. And then you can't, you are not complying with the same law, and you go out there and tell people that, no, you have to comply with this. So at the end of the day, there won't be unity. So unity will only come through, legal conformities of saying, we are in one accord as a party. If this provision is saying this, let it so be it. Yeah. They shouldn't be that, okay, Comrade Toivo will come and say, no, this provision is not, I can't comply with this provision, and maybe Pombili should come and comply. So at the end of the day, there won't be unity, comrade. I mean, there won't be unity in Swapo. Yeah. As long as we are trampling on those laws, it's going to be a problem.
You spoke about 2017 when President Pohamba stepped down as president of the party, and everybody in Swapo was being whipped into line. They were told, Hage Geingob is now the president of this party. And people were saying, but comrades, this is not how it works. And those that dared to challenge that position, I remember Helmut Amendments as Secretary of Information at the time, he placed a big advert in the newspaper, full-page advert, in which he called people like Dr. Ngurare at the time as agent provocateurs for sticking to that position. So, and when we saw in 2024, we saw people saying, oh, this is not the first time that the party's constitution is being trampled upon. The president has already been said. So talk to me about the danger of such things where you trample upon the laws this year and then you hope others next 5 years from now will comply.
You see, that's why I said we are enacting inevitable or unseen common law. So that in the end becomes subjective politically. Yeah. Because you are coming in with the mindset of Comrade Hage was endorsed. So why not me? So that predecessor will continue. Even 2027 or whatever, it will continue. Because people will always go back to history and say, why do you want to subject Comrade Netumbo to follow the process while Comrade Hage did not? So at the end of the day, it is chaotic. Yeah, there will be no unity, there will be factions, there will be independent candidates, and so forth on. So that is a very, very dangerous and thing we need to thwart that mentality. If we want to transition Swapo into a modern political party, and then if we really want to adhere to the principle of democracy. So first of all, we have to go back to the drawing board and look at our constitution, for example, which is, it's mostly inconsistent. Because you are saying, this provision you're saying, there is no endorsement. The other provision you're saying, a president becoming automatic. So there are a lot of contradiction. So these are common law we have created, unfortunately, in Swapo, and they are very, very hard, to break. Because number one, any person that's in line with power, he have or she have their supporters. And in most cases, these supporters are exaggerating things to say, okay, because I heard that Comrade Hage has followed the same path, and then my supporter are going to beg me. Yeah, so they will be my backing, they will be my support base. And at the end of the day, what happens? This guy get to power, just like that. And the next year, you are going to say, okay, no, man, comrade, we have to follow this due process, we have to follow the procedures. But at the end of the day, some come out to go back and say no, but in 2017 we did not, 2022 we did not. So why do you want us to follow this procedure now? Because it's me who is getting to power.
Yeah.
You see, that's the challenge.
Absolutely. We go for a very short break and return with Stephanus Pombili.
Hey everyone, you can catch Chill Sessions every Saturday on NTV at 7 p.m. Chill Sessions is the show where we take you in and around the country, counting down the trending music videos for the week you don't want to miss out.
We continue the conversation here with the ever brave Stephanus Pombili. Now, the 2027, how do you see 2027 unfolding? What will be the focus? Is it because we know that 2022, the go-to position was that of VP, because the presidential position became essentially useless because the one who was occupying it was no longer capable of or allowed to run for a third term, essentially. Do you think that the position that will be up for grabs that people are going to scramble for is that of president or VP?
Yeah, by virtue of the Swapo constitution, Comrade Tumbo is just finishing, the late President Hage Gigop term. That is to say that she has 2 terms in her hand. If she wishes to contest, she has 10 years to read the Swapo part. Yeah.
Beyond 2027?
Yes, because she has not started with her term.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at 2027 yet challenging, but I'm also looking at the few factors. Because the suffering Namibian, part of them are Swapo member. They are not oppositions. So if by 2027 we are not going to, the administration for Comrade Tumbo is not going to crack down on hunger, unemployment, etc. So both the countries and Swapo, they will grow frustrated. At the end of the day, you see that there will be a heavy contestations in 2027. Yeah, and also you are looking at, other political, in internal politics, we are looking at some other things that happened, and whereby we have seen the like of Comrade Shvetas were removed from being a minister into an ordinary member of parliament. These people may not take it well. They might, politics, it's about revenge, to say, if this person can do this to me, I'll get to power also. I'm going to fight this person. Because you realize that some comrades are going to contest. It's not necessary. There's what we call comrade Kapofi, strategy, where you go in and withdraw. So many people are going to employ that strategy. Yeah, if, for example, maybe they would want to remove Comrade Tumbo, they might employ Comrade Kapofi strategy, get in and then come out. So 2027, it will be very, very tough, but it will be also beneficial to Comrade President if she delivers services to the people. If she deliver her promise, because Swapo, people are not naive anyways. They are looking at, what are you doing? Yeah. Are you talking or are you acting? These are where they are going to draw a difference. Is this person acting or talking? Even if in the part we might not, for political reasons, we might differ with her, but she have also a backup support from the citizen to say, okay, this person is doing exceptionally well. But where now we are going to be stuck in the mud of statements and announcements, etc., where we are not seeing a tangible result, 2027 might also be challenging for her.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think, are we going to see, because you are obsessed in a very good way with complying with the Constitution? We have seen in the past where the Central Committee resolves to say, look, we are not going to have a contestation for this particular position. In 2022, President Hage Geingob was just retained like that. People saying, no, there's no challenge to the president, but those that want to vie for the VP and others, they can do that. What if it happens in 2027?
It's not going to happen. This one I have to assure you, it's not going to happen. Because look at the whole political environment. We are looking at where is Comrade Sarah, where is Comrade Shifeta and other people. So, you are looking at this guy that, they might not speak, but somehow politically they must feel offended. Because, politics, it's not going to happen. Of course, people are going to throw up heavy contestations. Yeah, they are going to throw up heavy contestation. And also we are, we have comrades that for some reason they were hoping to be appointed. And they will say, okay, what more if I support Pombili? And then they will bring him in. So you realize that these are loyal supporters, for example, for Comrade Netumbo. And then they must say, okay, I campaigned, but I was not, considered for some sort of appointment. So how about we throw in some certain of heavy contestations, and maybe by luck or by fluke, the person I'm supporting win, and then I'll be appointed. So it's not going to happen. Of course, it will be heavy contestation come 2027 because nobody is going to support endorsement at this time. The way I'm looking at the Swapo political environment.
Yeah.
No.
There's also after 2017 there was this so-called Helmut Amendments that say for one to become party president, and by virtue of that I suppose also the candidate for the presidential candidate of the country, you ought to have served, is it 20 years consecutive in the Central Committee?
Yes.
That if that is the law, if that is the constitution, it doesn't look like President Netumbo will be challenged by anyone. I don't know if there are many people with those credentials.
You see, as I said, we have created common law. They are very important element in our judiciary. So this Helmut Amendment was broken by Comrade Franz Kapofi, Comrade Tom Harwendo, 2022 Congress. So that is to say that if they are going to say Comrade who is not going to contest because he never served 20 years consecutively in the Central Committee, and then we are going to go back to the books and say, this is Comrade Tom Harwendo, this is Comrade Kapofi.
But they withdrew, Stephanus. They withdrew on that very ground to say, Mr. Kapofi, Mr. Harwendo, you have to withdraw because the Helmut Amendments wouldn't allow you to proceed. So,
okay.
so the president for complying, you could say.
Okay, if the argument was there now, why did not bring in Jerry Akanjo?
Jerry was dribbled.
Yeah. So if the argument is like, why did not bring? Because he was lying. If he qualified, so that's what I'm saying. That the Helmut Angula was a law that lacked direction or even a futuristic side, because you cannot only think that somebody became a Swapo party member in 1974, he will be the only Swapo member. There are new people that are born 2000, 2006, 2007 that are joining, and you have pioneers that are joining the Swapo party, and you are grooming these people. So now when you make these laws that are hindering these young people from progressing politically, then and by the way, even the same law are in direct contradicting with the Namibian constitution. They are contradicting the Namibian constitution because at the age of 21, you are entitled to be elected to uphold political office.
And there's no way you
Yeah,
could
so
have,
so
you would have
literally,
said,
in essence, I think it is foolish. Whereby, if, you know, you have to be at least before 1 year old before you become, I mean, to become a self-made. And you can't even make it to the central committee. It doesn't make sense at the end of the day.
No, but that is where the challenge is, because right now, as far as I remember, unless I missed something, as matters stand, the so-called Helmut Amendments are the law in the party. And for as long as they remain in place, even if you take this matter to court, unless you challenge the constitutionality, like you are saying, because you are making a good point to say, if the constitution of the country says I may run for political office at the age of 21, then this is actually contradicting that provision of the constitution, and therefore it's unconstitutional. But I'm just afraid that if that is still the provision going into 2027, then a lot of people will be out.
Yeah, you see, we have then to force a referendum, because these are public laws.
No.
For the principle of public law, that for it to be enforced should be accepted by the majority.
Yeah.
So, and then you go for a referendum to say, who want Helmut Amendment within the party, through a vote of yes or no. So then we can then see, okay, how many people want this, and then this law can be amended if that's the case. Because where you have a law that is discriminating, and by the way, Namibia, you know, I don't know, Namibia 70% are young people. So you want to exclude the majority. And what is the principle of democracy? Majority rules. So now you want to exclude the young people and then cater for only the older generation. So this law is not going to be applied. And by the way, we are going to fight, you know, we are going to fight it come 27, that nobody is going to be bad on the principles of Helmut Amendment to contest. We are going to fight it. Yeah, it should be amended. Yeah. And you even see, he came back later and he said, no, this law does not apply, it's only applied to people who have been there by then. You see, I really don't understand. You know, when you make a law that to benefit you, it tends to bite your generation. Because assume now, Comrade Helmut kids want to contest. The same law that was made
by their father.
By the father, you know, it's prohibiting this person from contesting.
Absolutely.
Yes.
My brother, thank you for coming to the platform.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I appreciate it. That is Stephanus Pombili. He's a social commentator, Swapo member, sharing his democratically guaranteed rights on the Evening Review. Thank you for watching.